Hello everybody and welcome back to the Hilltop Pillbox here in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And once again we have relocated, but this time to our friendly local game store, Nerd Haven Games, right here in downtown Abbotsford. And we're playing the game of Anniversary 41 Setup Edition with
Hayden
and
Ethan.
We're playing the Axis, and I'm playing the Allies. I got a bit of 8. And with my lofty 8, I figured I'd put a destroyer there with the battle wagon, and we'll see what happens. And yeah, we're going to start right now, get going, and we'll see if my grand plans as the Allies can take hold or if it's all just a pipe dream. Here we go. Alright, so here we are, turn 1 is done, and moving on to turn 2. There we go. And some pretty standard stuff here. My destroyer did not work in defense here. Destroyer and a battleship, we got 1 hit. So that was fun. He lost a sub, but then we came up here and we're going to build a small UK Navy to hopefully threaten some landings. Don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. Soviet Union was steamrolled by the Germans here. Not many losses, and the British have decided to shore up Karelia. We'll see if that's enough to blunt the inevitability of the German attack. Built a factory here. The Italians took there. They're hoping to provide a little bit of support for the Japanese as well, I think. And the Soviets gathered up here in Baracha, and nothing was done by anybody. The Americans lost their battleship, of course, and their transport and their destroyer, all for the loss of 1 Japanese fighter. And the Japanese came down, took these islands, as they are wont to do, and only lost a transport eventually. The Americans, instead of heading up north, I'm going to head south here. I'm trying something new today. We'll see what happens. So I brought the fighter from Hawaii down here, and we'll see if that works out well. And the British from Australia have come across the southern seas. That's pretty much it. Not much else to talk about here. We'll see what goes on. Italy bought a tech die. Didn't score on the first run, but they may going forward. We'll let you know right after this. Alright, turn 2 is done, and lots has gone on. We're going to see the Americans continue to pour money into an Atlantic strategy here. We've got the bombers over here and all the rest. The Italians are helping out in France because of the inevitability of the British assault, and you can see Norway's gone, and the Soviets took Finland, so that was nice, and took the Baltic states. So the Germans are losing some territory, but they took the Caucasus with authority. Only lost a couple of units and have 7 tanks, lots of planes. They also took eastern Ukraine, so they got 2 more tanks that can make it. They've got a fighter, a bomber. They got lots of stuff they can hit. And look at the international defense of Moscow. It's probably too little too late, but if you don't hold Moscow, this game is very, very difficult to win as the Allies. Down here in Africa, pretty quiet, not a lot going on here. Transjordan was taken from the Italians, and they decided to bulk up in Libya. Over here, India got some love from Australia, brought some stuff over, and moved a blocker to Persia because Germans may have decided to come down to Calcutta, which would have been fun. And over here, the Chinese continue to exist past round 2. So that's cool. And stalemate here in the northern Manchuria region. And the Japanese took Alaska, man and an armor, and they've got backed up with a bunch of fighters. So maybe an attack on western U.S. We shall see. We shall see what they're going to do. And Hawaii is obviously open as well. And the Americans have their loaded carrier and destroyer down here doing something. We're not sure what, but could be fun. So round 3 coming up. The Germans are preparing their assault on the Russian capital. Okay, here we are, round 3, and in the Atlantic we've got a lot of fun stuff going on here. The Americans continue to build up over here and sending stuff over, and did a landing. The British did a landing, the Italians took it back handily, but the Americans were able to wrest control. So kind of like a mini D-Day. Over here on the Eastern Front, still a lot of tension building between the two sides. The attack on Moscow succeeded in killing 11 infantry, but they lost 8 of their own units, including 6 tanks, so they pulled back, rebuilt, and so the Russians attacked here, eastern Ukraine, and in Belarusia in order to stop these 3 tanks from coming through. And there was an Italian tank in Kazakh that the British dispatched before it could come over and do a can opener on eastern Ukraine. Africa's a little lighter because of the Italian take-back of France, so there could be an opportunity there. And we have really built up in Calcutta. We sank a Japanese battleship. China continues the struggle, and yeah, they're just having fun. Over here, again, the Soviets and Japanese doing nothing up north. The Japanese were kicked out of Alaska, but they came down, took Hawaii, took Wake, and yeah, they are still demonstrating against the West Coast. All right, this is the friendly local game store, so yeah, lots and lots of activity going on. Good times. All right. Oh, and the carrier and the destroyer are down here. San's fighters, they were the ones that came over here and lost one to the battleship, but that was a trade I'll make every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Everybody has failed their tech rolls so far. Italy has tech, Germany has tech, Japan has tech, Britain has tech, and the US have tech, but we've all missed. Maybe this turn, we'll see. All right, the game marches on, turn 5 coming up, and here we got an Italian sub doing something out here. Who knows what, but he's probably going to come sink the American transport. And you can see that Morocco, Algeria fell, Operation Torch was a success, and France in American hands again. And we keep that roll you heard was yet another failed tech roll. We're 0 for about 15. Yeah, nobody's hit tech yet. And you can see the American shuck is going. It's a mini shuck right now because we got problems on the other side. We'll tell you about in a second. British fleet here. What else have we got going on? Moscow remains in Soviet hands. A lot of the air power is gone, but they were just bombers. So Germany, I don't know if they're going to try another poke right now, but they might. We'll see if they do. Calcutta, it's got lots of guys in it. Down here, the Japanese and the Chinese continue to fight over China. Chinese remain alive in turn 5. It's crazy. Again, nothing going on up north, but Alaska has been taken again. And lots of guys. I got 7 guys up there right now. So I had to build up here in LA. And, well, San Francisco. Apologies to the Bay Area. And, yeah, American carrier here. British transport here. He's going to have to run away from the Italian sub. That's pretty much it. On with turn 5. Will Moscow be attacked? Okay, round 5 is done. And we continue up here in the Atlantic. The Americans continue to build up. No landing in France this turn, though. So it's been bulked up pretty good by the Axis. We might have to look for a different way in. But the bombing campaign has begun in earnest against the German industrial complex. Number 5. Some lonely Americans up here. Karelia is pretty empty here. Moscow has about, what did we say, about 40 units?
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, but the Germans can hit it with 17 tanks and 6 meat shields, 7 meat shields. So we'll see if they do that, and of course some aircraft. Let's see if they're gonna take that. And Calcutta's well and truly ensconced in Allied love and affection. And same over here. Factory San's AA gun got bombed for the maximum of 4. Chinese continue. Haha. I don't think for much longer, but they're doing all right. The Japanese have marshaled their fleet back home again, but I forgot to do this attack over here. So just trying to plow through here, and then you forget things. And a shiny new factory in Australia last turn, built a transport, and we got another transport down here. Gotta watch out for these guys, they're sneaky. All right, on to round 6. Will Moscow still be in the hands of the Soviets? Okay, here we go. So the tech is rolling now. The what happens here. The Japanese have super subs, the British have jet fighters, and the Germans just got paratroopers, which is going to help them out a lot here in Scandinavia, perhaps. Snipe a couple of territories. But here we go. The British have landed in northwestern Europe in force. Got 7 units there. But that pales in comparison to the 10 units the Americans have dropped off here off the coast of Africa. France is pretty bulked up. Germans have a lot of power, but they're getting bombed a little bit. They got 6 damage on the factory. And yet, Moscow remains. And this could be the turn, though. He's got 20 tanks and 7 meat shields, to say nothing of however many aircraft he wants to use. Although with the paratroopers, that might draw some of his bombers off bombing duty. But we'll see. Americans did a little landing up here to help out the Russians as best they can. Might be a little late, though. China remains. Yes, China remains. Continuing. It's like trying to grab Jell-O with your hand here. Look at that. Japanese have really bulked up here. I was actually going to hit this fleet the whole time, and then he brought down 1 more carrier with 1 more fighter, and that stopped me from bringing over my stuff. So I just had to throw in a blocker and hope for the best. Up here again, the Japanese, they're doing really well. They've got a good economy, and they are building unfettered. But the Americans took back, well, the British took back Honolulu. The Americans are putting some stuff there just to keep them honest, and built a sub, because why not? Remembered to do the attack in Western Canada this time, so there you go, $1 to Britain. All right, but beyond that, we are heading into turn 7. And it's a great game. I have 0 idea where this is going to end up. We'll see. Might be decided this round. Okay, here we are. Turn 8 about to start. And things are heating up. The Atlantic continues to see a lot of American love and affection here. And came over here. The Germans sent a tank through to get Finland and Norway, but I had to take that back at the loss of an infantry. France was also taken by the, I get another $5 for America for still owning France. And America also took Italy, so that's very handy. And so the Italians right now have a tank, a man, and a sub on the board, and no money. So, but here we've got 21 German tanks and 1 meat shield. But I was able to block all the passes from Leningrad, so that's all he's got that can hit, and I don't think he's going to do that at this time. I don't know. He might. Who knows? But down here, it's a much closer battle going both ways here. Got 18 tanks in Calcutta versus 14 Japanese tanks and some other stuff. He's got a nice fleet over here. Where is the fleet card? There's the fleet card. So you can see he got 3 carriers with 5 fighters and I think 8 transports. So you can go lots of different directions here. And yeah, this is just craziness all over the place. Bulked up a little bit here, and built another fighter over here and a sub last turn. Not much to do, but we took back Alaska. So who knows? Who knows what's going to go on here? But the Germans have to take care of this massive stack of tanks. That's 4. 4? 4. That's 4 tanks. I don't know. Germany looks nervous. Okay, round 9 here, and the hits just keep on coming. You can see the Americans. We don't have any German aircraft to worry about, so we're actually parked in the middle of the Atlantic, which is a nice place to be. And we've landed, and we've got some force here in France. And I think the Germans, did you really build 17 infantry? Not yet. Oh, are you going to build 7? Yeah. Okay, so he's spending $51 on infantry that he's going to plant in Germany and just going to pile into the Reichstag and have some fun. Yeah, so America sent over another bomber. We bombed Germany for a whole 1 last turn. Don't forget that.
I got 1 extra.
Yeah. Here's the Caucasus. An attack was done on Russia last turn. I think he got 9 hits. He didn't roll very well, and I got 14, 16. Yeah, a lot more. So he took off after the first round, wisely. The Chinese were wiped off the map, but the Americans have come back with a little bit of help, trying to open up the KMT's wartime ability again. Had to take Burma this turn. It's kind of the dying song of the British in India, I think. But we had to stall for one more turn. And yeah, the Japanese, again, their fleet here, their 8 transports and loaded carriers, would make short work of Calcutta if they could slide all these tanks through. But that bought me one turn. And over here I decided to build a fighter and a carrier and jump the other fighter on there, so we're hopefully going to be able to have some fun in a few turns. I flew down the American fighter down here. I built this thing and I only built a transport there. That's the only thing I built is a transport, but it allowed me to take Hawaii back. So Victory City's a victory city, I say. All right, that's where we're at right now. Caucasus has 12 tanks, not quite enough to assault this. So the threat to Moscow right now anyway seems to be diminished, and if he's just going to build ground pounders, then I think we're okay. But we shall see. All right, round 9 coming up here in A&A Anniversary, 1941. Okay, turn 9 is done, and it's getting messy out there, folks. We're going to show you what's what. So France has finally been consolidated by the Allies. I think there's too much there for Germany to do anything about. They built 17 men here in Germany, but we've got lots and lots of stuff here. 6 freshly minted American tanks from Italy, and now the British can build 6 tanks a turn there too, so that's going to be very handy. Norway, we know about that. Karelia taken back by the Soviets, and yeah, looking pretty good here in Russia. But where it's not looking good is here. Yes, the Japanese were able to take Calcutta, adding another victory city to their coffers, but not without cost. They went from 12 planes down to 5, so that was pretty costly for them, and they used 7 tanks and 8 men to do it. So, but hey, they got a victory city, and now they can build stuff down in India. So they can now build 8 tanks per round on the Asian mainland. So Russia is not out of the woods yet. Americans just trying to match some of this. The Japanese have super subs, so we built some super destroyers ready to take them on. A couple of guys in Australia just to shore that up a little bit. And that's pretty much where we're at, folks. Not much else to talk about, so here we go. Should be fun. Okay, here we are, round 11 about to start, and we are still trucking along here in the Atlantic, but you can see didn't build anything in the Atlantic this turn because we went Pacific and Italy. So we built 6 more tanks in Italy. So we now got, I don't know, a bunch of tanks in Europe, but he's got, I don't know, a bunch of men. How much money you got for Germany? 21. So 7 more boys are coming on there. And yeah, it's a good time, having a good time. Germans came down here, took Libya. Look at that, eh? How cheeky. Now the Japanese came and took Persia. And Russians will likely have to do something about that because it's just tanks, no meat shields. So we'll probably have to do something about it. But there's more Japanese tanks lurking here. And they finally attacked Baracha, took care of that contingent of 7 men that got 1 hit?
Maybe 1.
It was pretty bad. Both of these here, I lost 14 infantry, and I think I took out 3 units doing it. So my 2s, folks, my 2s. I should just, never build anything that defends at a 2, so just tanks. Yeah, but Japan running the table here in the Pacific, but here comes America. Oh, well, that was convincing. Here comes America. Got ourselves a battle wagon out there, built a transport and a destroyer. So we got 3 destroyers and a sub, loaded carrier. Not sure we can do much with it. He's got his super subs out here, and Japan also got improved shipyard, so his boats are cheap. So we'll see if that's enough to rein him in a little bit here. I don't think so, though. I think they're going hair on fire for Moscow because they're only 2 turns away from it. Guess we'll see what happens. Boom. All right, folks, so that is the match. It has ended, and you can see the Marshall Plan is in full swing here in Europe. Americans, after the British softened up the Germans, the British pretty much punched above their weight for that and knocked them down quite a ways. But the Americans just a little too strong for the Germans. If we look over here, though, Japan is on the rise. I think Russia's next build probably would have been 10 infantry. I've got more money than that. I've got about, I could have done like 13 infantry. And then I would have brought all these tanks back and everything. So I think it probably would have stopped the Japanese cold. I was able to take out 8 Japanese tanks here. And yeah, so as nasty as Japan looks, they don't have any natural enemies anymore. The Americans and British have no natural enemies anymore, and so they can just start loading up and heading east. So, but congratulations to my opponents today. They did a heck of a job keeping me running around and trying different things. And you can see the Americans building up in the Pacific here at the end. Any thoughts on the game?
Nope.
Nope.
Have to learn for next time.
Pardon me?
Have to learn for next time.
Well, hey, trust me, I've lost far more of these games than I've won, so you get the ideas from the people who beat you. Boy, I've been beaten bad.
Stop whining.
But the dice were interesting today. I don't think colossally bad. Or you did shoot down 2 American bombers when the 2 of them came to bomb Germany last round, but
after missing like 3 bombing runs.
yeah. So you were due. But I think overall it was
Fairly balanced.
yeah, I don't think anything too cataclysmic. But hey, folks, as we always say here at the Hilltop Pillbox, thank you, friends, for playing. Hug your loved ones. And as always, may those dice be with you.